G'day, welcome to the blog for Wednesday 25th of July. This is day 33 of 65 on the compound effect challenge, or 13-week challenge. I'm making forward progress every single day and applying my edge and my method. So the goal is to really stick very closely to the method, apply the edge, apply day in, day out, be doing the same thing, and just moving ahead with fantastic information and spreadsheets, results, confidence, and something like a real systematic approach where it's all about the model rather than about the individual. It's all about creating something that's going to be able to move ahead and have a lot of confidence in it as moving ahead, like 50 to 100 plus contracts. So it is the trading system, really just focusing on having predetermined areas in the market, then over the top of that applying the blueprint of my setup. So there's 3 different strategies. Each strategy is completely separate within itself and doesn't overlap into the other one, and relies on certain predetermined areas in the market. Under these 3 strategies there's 6 setups or 2 setups or 2 blueprints that are very clearly defined within each strategy. Now each strategy has key levels, other markets and pivots. From strategy 1, it's all about continuing trends. It's the 5-minute momentum and 5-minute continuation trade. It's just based on key levels and key levels only, and applying the blueprint over the top of that. The second strategy is similar to a continuing trend, but looking at the highs and lows and getting a breakout, and they're quite significant areas, and they're certainly a different area within their own right. And what this is, using key levels, or if not key levels here, we can use immediate price action levels, and requires the support of other markets. Strategy 3 is pivot strategy. It's a reversal strategy, or looking for new direction, new pressure, new momentum. So this involves the reversal trade and the directional trade. The emphasis is on predetermined and identified pivots. Thus has to ignore key levels, so there's no confusion, and it requires other market support. So today's action. So here we are on the daily charts. We're still dealing around this 1326 area. They're getting some support there. At the moment, the daily charts don't give a real good overview of what's happening. It's not like they're just all of a sudden bouncing and heading with a trend, or breaking through or anything like that. They're dealing around this area here, but within this area there needs to be a medium-term view, and to understand exactly what's going on. So here it is, 15-minute chart. So what happened leading up to the opening of today, and it certainly had a lot of impact in the first trade of the day. These pre-market levels, it happened before today, Wednesday. It happened also before Tuesday. There was these holding patterns or formations, especially today, showing that these markets want to go higher. They broke through this level here, and certainly looked like they'll gain some momentum to look like they want to head up and potentially have a look at these levels up here. You can see what's actually happened. It did try to go higher. It's then reversed and come back down, found some support around, again, another key level, which we'll have another look at, 1328, and from there created some holding patterns and headed back up to where it originally started from. Around this area here, we've got some breakout setups we'll have a close look at. The setup actually worked, but expected it to go even higher and break through this level and just continue with what they were showing in the pre-market and start heading back up to, say, 1341, which is a key level there as well. But in the end, the market got some pressure to the downside, and we're now just dealing sideways, but it looks like it's trying to head back up now. So here we are on the first trade of the day. So looking for a directional breakout, part of the breaking high, breaking lows area. So it can either be a trend pullback, like in these areas here, where it continues and breaks the high or low, or looking for the the pressure or direction of the first day, and basically breaking key level or immediate price action levels within the marketplace. So determine these areas before the market even opens. On this particular day, there's a level down at 1335, and also a level at 1337. So definitely the market started to head up. It's come up. All the other markets are holding it, and as we're coming back, we're holding really quite well. It dealt around this area for a while, looked like it was going to bounce and go, but in the end pushed through the level quite easily. And as far as continuing that trend. In this case, wasn't particularly the right situation, but definitely still, part of the model, part of the probability set up, and looking for it to go higher. In this case, it didn't do that. From there, it pushed down lower. It came back and looked at this key level here of 1335. By this stage, because we'd gone up so far on the upside, by the time we're pushing down here, this is basically a new trend. Sort of the breakout is done and over. So I wasn't looking, even though the area worked quite well. Wasn't looking at this stage yet. This is more of a momentum trade. I only use the momentum trades in later trends. We'll look at possibly bringing them into the first trend. So for example, getting underneath the level, holding it and then pushing lower. It's a more aggressive approach, but for now only applying momentum trades, and there was an area looked at over here, but only applying to second or further on trends. From there the market's pushed down. Now here's where we got a bounce. Predictives crossed up, crossed down, and looking for a breakout trade in this particular area, knowing that 1328 key level marked here is on the markets, is down below, and that's going to be attraction for the market to go down at least and have a look. Whether it wants to break through or bounce is another thing, but at least the market's going to have some attraction to look at that area. So it's definitely a breakout trade. Once it became obvious that the sellers were around, there was certainly potential for a breakout trade here. So again, over to the 1 minute chart. So this one normally try to predetermine a key level that's specific to this area. So sorry, a price action level that's specific to this area. There's no actual key level in the area. Need to determine just for this particular strategy an actual immediate key level. So it did take a little while to determine it. Didn't turn it back here. It's through this level here started to put it on. The markets popped down. So not looking at this stage here, but at this stage here it's too early because you can see over here the predictive average has not yet crossed up. Through this area here, this is when it gave us first chance to actually get on it. Predictive average is crossing up. So as far as indicators involves, we're not basing the trade on indicator, but I do need the indicator to pop up to say that this is an area there we can potentially look at a breakout. I'm not ever looking at it any earlier than that because there's just too much movement, too much volatility to be always looking at any of these sort of areas, and just going to be really sort of getting bogged down with looking at too many areas. So I just want to cut it down to some specific areas. When that predictive crosses up, now a confirmation that we can go for this trade. Got a predetermined price level, needs to get some thrust and push through it without passing or breaking the lows. It's done that, then needed to pop back and get an entry to continue on this downside. It did flash on the level, unfortunately no entry there, so no trade, even though the area worked quite well and pushed down. 1328, so here's this level, looking to see what the market wants to do around here. Obviously this real thruster will push up here, showed confirmation that maybe the buyers were looking to hold, and this is a level that we're going to potentially go higher from. I mean, certainly not thinking buy at this stage, but there's information coming that the buyers are starting to get a bit of a hold of this market and look to take it higher. From there we got step up movement through here. The predictive tried to cross down here, so I've had it cross down here. Obviously I'm not looking at the 5 minute sell, we're sitting above this key level. It's not until we get down below this key level, we'll probably use it as some sort of breakout trade, but obviously it never got there, and then the predictive swung up and then it swung down again here. So certainly not, as far as a 5 minute sell area, this is quite a dangerous area. The market really is looking to hold and go high, and by this stage I'm definitely thinking upside, definitely thinking of my pivot trades, looking for some sort of breakout to the upside. So I'm actually looking for this area to fail, and what determines my pivot areas trade, whether it's a directional or a reversal trade, is I actually need a preceding area to fail. So it comes into play over here, and I'll talk about that soon. But so this area failed badly, started coming back, putting pressure on this pivot here. Quite often the directional and the reversals, very similar areas, very similar looking setups. At times they can be different, but this particular case they were quite similar. Could have taken it at the end of this candle here, or waited, so that would have been the directional, taking it there at the actual when the predictive crosses over, or wait for it to break the pivot. In this particular case, just because on the 1 minute charts there's a little bit of sideways action, just wanted to really get confirmation of it to break that pivot there. Once it broke, then get in with the reversal trade and get a continuation of this new direction, or this reversed direction. It was on the downside, now on the upside, and that one went the points quite easily. Up here we started breaking up, and we easily push through this key level. So what we want to see is the market push through a key level like this, show that there's not a lot of sellers lurking around this area, and then the buyers see that and they'll look to buy around this area here. So momentum trade, which is based on the 5 minute fade, where we got direction, and before this yellow average pushes up, we want the predictive to cross down and then get some sort of area to buy and get a continuation of the trend. That's how the 5 minute fade set up. So obviously I'm basing on a key level, look for it to push through the key level and buy off it and get a continuation of the trend, and that's my 5 minute momentum trade. Trying to keep things very systematic and basically to the tick. So in this particular level here, I need it to go 6 to 8 ticks. 6 ticks if there's a lot of momentum is enough. If there's not quite the same momentum through this area, I need it to go 8 ticks. So this particular area, I was looking for it literally to go 6 ticks, then place on the order. It's missed it by 1 tick, so you might say, 1 tick's close enough. But what I've found and what I've discovered is in the past, that was sort of good enough for me, and I was getting a bit sloppy, and as a result, I think, again, trading bigger contracts, you want to have something that's very systematic and just very well defined. So now at this stage in my development, really making it as clear as possible. So I was literally waiting for it to confirm, and confirmation 6 ticks. It never got there, so therefore no momentum trade there, even though it did bounce off the area and it went higher. So then we're starting to pull back here, this area here. I just, in my mind, I thought this was going to be a shallow pullback and an area where we'll go up and have a look at these 13, 30, 41 level. It's a key level in the marketplace, and looking at a breakout trade here. Learned something in this area here. It's a trade that was potentially, or was looking to call for the room as well. Myself, I was looking to wait as well, and the setup basically came for me. Okay, I was in my mind, I'm thinking I want a little bit more confirmation. I actually hesitated at one stage, but I looked at the setup and go, this is the setup, this is exactly what I need. And in the day, if I don't buy, it's just all about probability. It doesn't matter whether it's a right or wrong trade. It's all about probability. And like the mentors and trading in the zone, those sort of books talk about, you just got to have something that's systematic and go with it. As soon as you get the blueprint, it's not a matter of you deciding whether to take it or not. It's your model decides on whether to take it or not. So after hesitating for a second or two, got in, and then of course, as far as the room's concerned, we did go for a little bit more confirmation, so the room ended up missing the trade. But myself, I took it when my exact blueprint said so, and that was what we're looking for is 1336.50 was the key level identified. Kind of spikes up here, touches it almost there, comes up, it just deals around this price. So when you take the line away, it just should be something that kind of stands out, and for me, that was the area. So it was this area here where looking for it to get underneath. So where is it? Let me just slide this chart along. So again, got to wait till the predictive average actually crosses down, and not looking for it once it's just hanging above. Again, so just to look at a specialized area by here, it's crossing down. So I'm obviously not looking at here. We still hadn't really confirmed this price action here. It wasn't until it moved along a little bit, sort of moved along this point here, really confirmed 1336.50 was the area. We then got underneath it, held, push higher, looking for thrust, so 4 to 5 ticks. So the reason I hesitate is because normally I like to see this one candle just go 4 or 5 ticks, then come back. It kind of went, dealt sideways a bit, and then for some reason hesitated, but knew it just had to be, the order had to be placed here, and ended up placing there, and that's where it got picked up and long from. So that the map or the blueprint is key level. The signals come on the 5 minute chart. The predictive average is ready to go. Look for that thrust, that real push, and then look for it to come back to the key level and buy. And away it went. And then of course we're waiting for a little bit more confirmation for the trading room, and that was this area here, looking for a real solid thrust, which we got here, and then look for it to buy off this level here, which it never came back for me. So I'm in here. I'm actually looking for it to go up to 1341. So the trade went 10 ticks. I'm not sure because I didn't have my exit there, which I normally would, whether there was actually an exit there or not. Probably not. I was waiting for it to go up a little bit further. Dealt around this area, pulled back a little bit. I was still on this area as it came up here, and then really started to deal sideways. I was watching the other markets, just no one was breaking. I still thought it had possibility of going there, but I wasn't prepared to risk some profit, so I actually got out at 2 points in this particular case here, and ended up being a good decision because it's pushed lower. From there we started breaking down. Now this particular area here looks a bit like a reversal trade, and all of a sudden there's an area here. This is basically the bottom of this sideways range, looking for once it gets out of this break this range, and we get a real continuation, like I said before. But for a pivot area or a reversal or directional trade to work, the preceding area needs to fail. Now this particular area didn't go through and break its highs, but it still got back to the highs, and there was a winning trade within this area. So this area hasn't failed, and what means, because the area hasn't failed, it still gives the buyers some momentum. Now, when I'm looking at a pivot, what I want to see is the preceding area fail, then break the pivot, and that just gives a whole heap of signals that it's heading in the opposite direction. The preceding area works, so automatically not looking for the breakout trade in the opposite direction now. Even though this particular one worked, certainly not what I'm looking for. In fact, this level was still here. What I was looking for was the market to show confidence again that it wanted to head back on the upside and potentially look at a breakout trade again. But in the end, the market's pushed back down, and from there we've pushed a bit lower and then dealt sideways, and that was the day. So that's a wrap up for Wednesday. Fair bit there, and we'll speak on Thursday.